Northern India, where heavy monsoon rains over the last 2 months have brought some of the worst flooding for years. In some places, violent rainstorms have continued unabated for 5 and 6 days at a time. Buildings have collapsed, streams have turned into rivers, and rivers have been transformed into virtual seas. Nowhere is the situation worse than here in Lucknow, a city of 800,000 people and the capital of Uttar Pradesh state. It stands on the river Gomti, a tributary of the Ganges. In summer, the Gomti is only knee-deep. Now it's burst its banks and flooded nearly a third of the city to a depth of several feet. Lucknow is supposed to be protected from floods by 2 6-mile-long embankments built 50 years ago by the British. But one of them has already burst and the other is weakening. More than 2,000 troops and 4,000 labourers are battling to plug the gap. If the breach widens, whole sections of the embankment could be swept away and the city completely engulfed. In the city itself, thousands more overworked soldiers are helping the inhabitants of the worst-hit districts to move out, taking with them as many of their belongings as they can carry. So far, 32 people have died in Lucknow and at least 300 throughout Uttar Pradesh. But with communications badly disrupted over a vast area, it's not possible to know with any certainty just how many have perished. Many people are still unaccounted for, especially in the outlying districts, and the final death toll may well run into thousands. Organising such a large-scale exodus has taxed local resources to the limit. Over 250,000 people have to be moved out immediately onto higher ground, and any vehicle that can get through the water has been commandeered for rescue work. The army has taken over all available boats and mounted a round-the-clock ferrying operation to get people out of the city as quickly as possible. Over 500 buildings have been destroyed in Lucknow alone. Some parts of the city are already deserted, abandoned to the encroaching waters. After the evacuation comes the problem of settling the homeless. Most of the refugees have been temporarily housed in makeshift camps like this, a few miles outside the city. Every day, hundreds more arrive and try to crowd beneath the flimsy shelters to get some respite from the almost incessant rain. For many, their arrival means the first chance for sleep in days. But the refugees from Lucknow are fortunate in one respect. Trains carrying food can still get through. Those marooned in more remote country areas are not so lucky. In most countries, scenes like these would mean a major catastrophe. But in India, a country long inured to the worst calamities that nature can bestow, the monsoon floods are accepted almost as a routine event of the year. In a country where nearly 10 million are starving in refugee camps, where millions more have no job, no shelter and no possessions, tragedies like the floods at Lucknow are inevitably downgraded on the scale of human suffering. It seems incredible, but it's probably true that in 6 months' time, Lucknow could be trying to cope with drought.